resources, inspiring interviews, business practices, and practical advice to take your art career to the next level. Join Sergio Gomez in today's Artist Next Level and get ready to take control of your career.
Hello, my Next Level friends. Welcome to another episode of the Artist Next Level podcast. I am your host, Sergio Gomez, and I'm so happy that you are joining us one more time. Or maybe this is your first time listening to the Art Next Level podcast, and I am sure you're going to have a great time. If you are a regular listener of this podcast, I'm going to ask you if you can take a minute of your busy schedule and visit iTunes, find our podcast, and write a review of how you like our episodes. It's a quick and easy way to help us get this podcast to more artists like yourself. Well, today I am super excited to share with you an interview with entrepreneur Thomas Griffin. Thomas is the CEO and founder of Artsquare, an online platform designed to save time managing your art career by instantly publishing your artwork to multiple online platforms that work best for you. This is a brand new web-based platform that you definitely want to hear all about. So without any further delay, I want to introduce to you Thomas Griffin. Hey Thomas, how are you doing today?
Hey Sergio, I'm doing great.
Are you ready to take us to the next level?
I think I am.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited to have you in the program today. First, I want to thank you for spending some minutes with us and telling us a little bit about this new platform that's called Artsquare that I'm pretty excited about. I think I first got to it through a Facebook ad. I clicked on it, and since then I've been very intrigued as far as what it does, what it is, and so this podcast we're going to on kind of open the box and see what's inside Artsquare. And so we're really excited to have you because you are the CEO and founder of Artsquare. And before we actually talk about the product, the Artsquare itself, let's have a little bit of introduction about yourself. If you can share with our friends here at the Art Next Level a little bit of who you are, maybe where you grew up, and kind of what led you to Artsquare.
Yeah, happy to. Thanks again for having me on the show, Sergio. I'm Thomas Griffin. I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO of Artsquare. Believe it or not, I don't have an art background, and that's something that I used to be, kind of insecure about. Of how am I going to work with visual artists if I don't have a creative bone in my body? But I've since become very comfortable with the idea that we all have different skill sets and different interests, and it's the blending of those together that makes a lot of beauty. So a little bit about me. I was born in San Francisco, quickly moved to Texas, grew up just outside of Austin, Texas, which is an amazing cultural place, kind of an oasis in Texas to me. I studied business marketing at a university in Texas called Abilene Christian University, and it was there that I really started to explore the art market. So I was buying some artwork from China. I was shipping it here to the United States, and I built my first website and listed a lot of these artworks for sale. And I did pretty well. I learned how to stretch canvas from tubes, and when I went back to kind of go buy my second round of inventory, so to speak, I got a little concerned that I didn't have an eye for art, and I didn't want to waste my money, and so I started working with some artists that were in the BFA program at my university, and my idea was essentially, if these artists can have a portfolio of works that have already been sold to alumni or others, then that helps support them in their career goals of either gallery representation or pursuing an MFA. And it's just been a series of progressions where I've just paid attention to, what are the systemic problems underneath all of this that has caused this sort of this cultural acceptance of the concept of a starving artist. And I'm really fascinated at really wrestling with those ideologies and seeing if we can blend technology and culture and business into creating a society of post scarcity for some of these artists. So
that's fantastic. So you pretty much, this idea was born while you were still in college. Is that correct?
Yeah, so this idea was not. My love for art was.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so it's been a series of hitting my head against the wall and saying, this isn't going to scale, or this isn't actually that valuable. And I think now we've settled into something where we'll be here for a good long while.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And I think what you said is very important, that even though you are not an artist yourself, but the way you are approaching it from the business marketing perspective is really important, because sometimes as artists we sometimes lack that vision, and for you to come in and also help with your expertise and what you're good at, and in order to put together a product that at the end of the day will help the artist in the areas where he or she may be lacking off. So it creates a great synergy, between the two.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think, like I said, the blend of those things has become very beautiful to me. My appreciation for art has grown, and my appreciation for the business side too. A lot of artists are averse to commercialization, and are averse to figuring out their art career following practical steps. But I think that's changing. I think as gallery models are breaking down, artists and more are becoming independent, and they're becoming entrepreneurial in and of themselves. And so I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to help sort of shape our path forward in the ways that I can. Yeah.
That's fantastic, because that's exactly what we're all about here at the Art Next Level, these entrepreneurial ideas and bringing people just like you who are changing the landscape of what it could be for the future. So let's talk a little bit about Artsquare itself. So how did you come up with the name and the idea, and how did that started to take shape?
Yeah, so believe it or not, one of the ideas that I had near the end of my time in college was to build a social network for artists.
Okay.
And I think honestly that was a terrible idea at the time, but it helped shape our company brand a little bit. And the idea of having a central square, a central market where all of this culture was exchanged was really sort of the life behind Artsquare. What has been really interesting to me is that along the way we've changed our business model, we've changed our focus on both the problem and the solution, but this same concept of bringing artists together and creating a vibrant and healthy ecosystem has sort of been retained throughout. And so Artsquare is a fitting name. We've never had to change it, and I've kind of just fallen more and more in love with it.
Great. It's funny, how sometimes you start with something in mind, but that ends up not being the thing that you're going to be doing, but it evolves. And that's typical on business. And I'm sure it's been also kind of our story of how when we began Our Next Level, we had no idea we were going to be doing a podcast, but then it just one thing evolved, and now we love it. We cannot see it without the podcast being an integral part of that. So when I come into artsquare.com, which is your guys' website, the kind of like the main statement that lands here in the page is save time managing your art career. And that, I think that touches on a very important problem that often in the art career we see, which is managing time, and especially nowadays, because as artists we have to be in control of all our social media, or all the platforms, of how we integrate all these different platforms. And when I read the second sentence, which says instantly publish your artwork to the platforms that work the best for you, that really grabbed my attention, because that's a huge promise. Tell us a little bit about this, and now going into how Artsquare works in the inside.
Yeah, so thank you for telling me that it hooked you. That really is our intention, and we spent a lot of time on the messaging around that. So Artsquare essentially is a centralized portfolio where you upload all of your work to our platform, and then we go on your behalf and invest technology resources and business resources to connecting our platforms to other platforms in a way that allows you to instantly publish your work to those sites. And we're solving a couple of problems. I think it's very obvious the problem that we're solving for an artist. There are hundreds of places where you can sell your art, and that is a double-edged sword, because that's amazing that you have all of this access, but ultimately the burden is on you to figure out and sort of curate which platforms you want to be on, and that is a massive time investment. And on the platform side, what we've identified is that there's all of this amazing art, but artists are hesitant to join platforms. They're hesitant to stay on platforms. And there's this really messy sort of accounting that's happening across the industry, where artwork will be listed that no longer is available.
Exactly.
You can continue to zoom in further and further into the platform problem and understand that there needs to be some central layer that is helping to sort of lubricate the data transfer. And so that's the business that we're in. We're in the business of helping make these connections and publish artists and their assets to the platforms where they want them to be.
Great, because I think that's one of the main main issues as we work with so many artists, and being an artist myself too, that sometimes it's like, okay, I'm going to spend time to put on my artwork in this platform, whatever that might be. But then keeping up with, the logistics of that platform, plus other 3 or 4 that you are doing, that's what is really hard, because now if a work sells in one, you have to take care of the other ones. And so it's this managing of time and what's where that, I lost my password for this one, and, as you don't know, it's just like everything else. So another thing that the first time I saw the premise of Artsquare, the first thing that came to my mind, and you tell me if I'm wrong on this one, but it came to, this is like Hootsuite for artists platforms and selling their art. Is that correct?
I think that's a great analogy for it. I love trying to find that analogy of Uber for X or Hootsuite for Y, and I think that's solid. I think that's a great analogy. Yeah, we definitely do some similar things. Right. When you're working with inventory, there are obviously more complex problems to solve, but there are also a lot more opportunities to provide some insights and predictive recommendations for artists, which is something that we're really, really interested in down the line.
Great. And for those friends who do not know what Hootsuite is a platform, online platform, that you can manage all your social medias from one platform. So that's why, it came to my mind as soon as I came to Artsquare. And again, that, we don't have any royalties with Hootsuite or Artsquare or anything, but I just love to share those programs, because I tell artists, it's really hard to be on social media, but if you work with one that helps you to be in all of them effectively, then you're winning at the end of the day, because you're getting some hours back that you can put in your studio. So same thing with what you guys are trying to do with Artsquare. If we can save some hours of our time managing all this inventory and where it goes and how to process it properly, and we can then put that time back into where it really matters most for us, which is time in the studio and making the great work, that then we can put through Artsquare to make it work for us.
Yeah, exactly.
So is the platform already functional, or is it going to be coming out soon, or what's the status of Artsquare?
Yeah, great question. So we're really close to launch. We've got a beta program that we're running for a few hundred artists. We're essentially just collecting information on how the usability of the platform is, paying attention to particular features that are either used a lot or not used. And it's really our hope over the next month or so that we really polish this thing into something that solves some of these problems. And the challenge is we have to actually save artists time. And in order for us to save artists time, we need to have an experience that just makes sense and is dead simple. So the state of that, we should be launching to the broader public within the month. So near the end of May, which is really exciting. We've got a pretty strong wait list. We've got just over 10,000 artists who have organically heard about what we're working on and have been really keen on signing up and being notified of launch. There are so many platforms out there, and so we're figuring out which key ones to target and to launch with, and really trying to flesh out the dynamics around that. But yeah, we've got some really solid partners in the pipeline. We've got some really interesting things that we'll be able to do with artists and the analytics that we're able to provide back to them in a dashboard. So there's a lot of work to be done, but it should be live and accessible to artists end of May, early June.
Awesome. And is it going to start with a certain number of platforms that is connected to? And will those platforms will continue to grow over time?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I can't disclose the particular platforms
right.
just yet. We're working on some marketing initiatives and trying to solidify our final sort of batch for launch. But yes, there will be a handful of platforms to launch. The nature of this is, I think that once we prove out the viability of that we're actually saving artists time and how that translates to these platforms. And how we're saving them time and money and increasing their revenue. We'll expose our API and we'll make it much, much easier for new platforms to make integration requests. And it really is our goal that, some new technologies that are pretty cool are coming out over the next few years, particularly for art experience.
Right.
And it's our hope that we build an ecosystem in which those platforms are actually launching from our ecosystem, which I think is really exciting because it puts the artist really at the forefront of the work that these platforms are doing, and they'll be able to understand pretty quickly whether or not they're delivering value to artists, which is one of the big problems that I think artists have experienced is they've been burned time and time again of making massive investments in an opportunity for it not to pan out. And so we're able to figure that out much quicker. And artists can have access to those things instantaneously, and so it really reduces the risk.
Yeah. Great. And in terms of investment, what's the launch price for registration for an artist who might be interested in joining Artsquare?
Yeah, so I've got some exciting news. When you go to our website, you see that it's $10 a month to start to have integrations. We've been working with our existing investors and a couple of other stakeholders, and along the way, we've realized that this is something that we want to make free to artists. So we're not going to be charging for this product. There may be additional services that we come out with, particularly around the predictive analytics side of things, that we may have pay to play. But this is going to be a tool that is absolutely free for artists to have unlimited connections. And really that is in line with the spirit of what we're trying to do here. So this isn't anything that's going to cost artists money.
Well, that's pretty cool because I was going to commend you and say $10 is pretty reasonable and very great price. But now that you say free, that's absolutely double congratulations.
Yeah. I mean, it's a hard decision. There are a lot of people involved, and it's certainly not a nonprofit. But ultimately, I think everyone's objectives are best served whenever we're not introducing friction to artists and having them finance yet another expense.
Exactly. And you can always offer premium services that, once a person comes in and tries Artsquare and if they love what, the results they're getting, it become a no-brainer to then upgrade to premium services.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to look at a lot of that information down the line.
Right. Well, that's pretty exciting, man. What's been, in your experience, working from beginning to just a few days to launch time for Artsquare, what's been kind of the biggest challenge for you on this venture?
Oh, what a great question. The biggest challenge for me has been not losing myself in the project. When you have a lot of ambition and a lot of drive, a lot of times you go heads down and you look up, 2 years later and you might have accomplished a lot, but you can see sort of the opportunity cost of your relationships and the opportunity cost of your wellness and And that's something that, I'm 26 years old, so I'm young by
Right.
by professional standards, but that's something that I have really tried to face head on, of who do I want to be, and then what do I want to do, and not
Right.
vice versa. And there are a lot of pressures around building a business. We have investors, we have employees, we have, thousands of artists who are expecting us to deliver
Right.
this product. And so I think not losing yourself, staying true to who you are, and really trusting your experience, that your genius shines most bright when you are in your natural environment for doing your work. And I think that's important, not just for entrepreneurs,
Right.
but especially for artists. So that's tough, but we're learning it alongside this population of creatives. And so it's been a really, really wonderful journey. And I'm maybe it's a little taboo to say, but I'm incredibly proud of myself and incredibly proud of who I am and what I've been able to do, just staying true to myself along the way. So
Right.
it's a great question.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for sharing. And on behalf of many artists who are listening right now, and probably the hundreds or thousands who will be joining Artsquare, again, we want to thank you for, that effort and to putting your energy to help artists in this particular area of struggle, which we're looking forward to see what Artsquare can do for our art career. And now let's get to the part where how can we learn more about Artsquare? How can we sign up to get notification when it launches? Or if you get to listen to this podcast once it has launched, where can we go and find out more about it?
Yeah, so it's pretty straightforward. Just go to artsquare.com, artsquare.com, and you'll see a big shiny button that says sign up. Just go ahead and click that, and we'll know to put you on our wait list. We'll be releasing access slowly over the next 30 to 45 days. And so definitely get in line. The faster you sign up, the faster you'll have access to the tool. And if you want to get in touch with me personally, my email's just thomas@artsquare.com. Okay. We are going to build the best tool that artists have ever used, because we're paying attention to the tools they want to use.
Right.
So if you have any thoughts or feedback, you've got a direct line to me. I read every email and I respond. So those are the two primary ways.
Which was really nice. After I signed up, I got an email from you right away, and that's how I reply and invited you to the podcast.
Here we are.
There we go. Exactly. That's just a few days ago. So thanks again, Thomas, again for being with us. I really appreciate your time. I know you're busy, and you guys are right now on a countdown to launch, and that's pretty exciting and also nerve-wracking, right? Make sure that everything is working well, and I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic launch. We invite our friends to check it out, to go to artsquare.com and take a look at what's there, sign up, and give it a try. I think this is a great opportunity to get first access on something new and something that could be revolutionary for your art career as well. So, Thomas, with that, I want to thank you one more time for spending time with us. Any last word that you would like to say to our friends?
I want to reciprocate. Thank you for the work that you're doing. We were talking just before we hit record, 100 episodes. That's indicative that you guys are making something valuable, and you guys have the discipline to execute on that. And I know I was listening to a few of them earlier this week, and I know that you guys are delivering value to artists, and so I commend you. I appreciate it. It's much needed. Galleries are failing. The old world is falling apart, and there's a new paradigm being established. And people such as yourself are really paving the way and giving our lighthouses for visual artists. So again, thank you for the work that you do. I'm excited to continue listening to your podcast and find ways to collaborate down the line, because I do think that we have shared goals.
Absolutely. Thanks, Thomas. We really do believe in the sharing economy and being part of that. And absolutely. Creating new ways for artists. So that's why we're all excited. So we're all in the same team.
Yeah.
So thanks again. I want to thank all our friends listening today to the Artist Next Level podcast. Thank you. If you really enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends. Thanks again, and I will see you at the next level.
Check out our website at www.theartistnextlevel.com, where you will find our podcast library, learn about our upcoming webinars, find resources relevant to your career, and much more. Thanks for listening to today's podcast, and we'll see you at the next level.